Hello class, this is the lecture video for chapter 2 of the textbook. This chapter we're going to talk about the tab, tools, and other terms. This is a brief introduction on tab and other tools again. Later on we'll have more chapters specifically talk about the complicated techniques of how to arrange the tabs. But this chapter we will have a brief introduction on the tabs. Before we talk about the tabs, here is something from the textbook, but I think it's very important for you to know. When you work as a designer or when you create your own document, normally here are something that you really want to keep in mind. First, we want to understand the purpose and determine which information is most important. Because the most important stuff, normally, you want it to be projected. You want it to stand out in your design. So keep that in mind. Never lose your purpose. Secondly, here are some information that you really want to double check because you have a very good chance to make errors or mistakes in those places. Check the phone numbers and zip codes because you know that if one number is wrong and you didn't find it out, and once those errors are printed out in the publication, there's nothing you can do and you can't use it. So that's a huge waste of money. Web address sometimes it's long, it's complicated. Again, if only one letter or one dot is in the wrong place, then the whole web address doesn't make sense at all. And if there is a TM or registration mark in the product name or not, if there's one, you need to put it over there. So those you also need to check the name, spell names, and verify the times, days, and days. So those are the trivial stuff. And sometimes we pay too much attention in the trivial stuff like here, but you ignore the big stuff, such as the headings and the subheads. And here, unfortunately, we also have a very good chance to make mistakes. So when everything is done, we also need to proofread the headings and the subheads. And finally, we need to make sure that we know how the work is printed out and finished. Is it drilled or is it stitched? If it is drilled, then you may want to have a wider margin on the left side or on the inside. So those are something that we really want to know before we start it. Also, when you create a document from now on, when you work on your own project, it's very good. You probably want to follow those procedures, those steps, step by step. Don't mess up with the steps, because if you mess up with the steps, there will be something wrong, and you can't find it out what is wrong. And the process of creating a project therefore can be very frustrating. So make sure you follow those procedures step by step. First, you format the correct size of your document. Is that you use the rectangular rectangular frame tools to frame out the correct size. Is that a letter size, a business card size, or a CD cover size? Secondly, and then you add and align the outer stroke. If there's a stroke around the document, so you want to add it and align it out. Make sure that thing is there first. And then you want to create a text inside if the stroke is used. How do you create a stroke? We will show that soon. If you miss the inset, what will happen is that the text will overlap with the stroke around the document, and that looks very unprofessional. You can use Command B to call out that, write this down on your notebook. You will use this later on. Tap first, format later. First of all, you just tap everything, and then later on you formatted out the font size, the tab family, tab style. That's something you work on later on. Specify the character formatting at this step, and then once you finished formatting the characters, then you specify the paragraph formatting. And do you want to use indent? Do you want to centralize it? Do you want to justify it or not? And finally, proof and print and proof again, because proofreading is very important. So here is the steps. Don't start with specify the paragraph formatting first. Always start with the correct size of the document, and then considering the stroke, and then do not forget to create a inset, because otherwise the document will look ugly. Tab and typography is so important in graphic design that we said that when you create a brochure or when you create a flyer, you send it to the customers, and the customers normally will have 5 seconds to look at it, and then they are going to decide whether or not they're going to look at this junk mail or not. So if the typography is eye-catching, then they are going to look at it. Otherwise, they're going to throw it, no matter it takes you 3 days or 3 months to create it. If the typography or other factors are not that eye-catching, they are going to throw it in a trash can within just 1 second. So you want to make sure that you really understand all the other designing factors as well as the typography. Typography is important. For example, look at those 2 columns. We take those 2 columns from the textbook, and those 2 columns they basically have the same content, and actually is the same advertisement. They just use different typography and layout design. So look at here, this one is exactly the same as this one. This is the meatball supper. This is also the meatball supper. This is the garage sale. This is also the garage sale. Let's look at the first column first. The first row. Compare those 2. Which ads do you like most? Ad A or ad B? Most of you probably will say ad B. Why? Because it breaks out everything. Even though the content is exactly the same, ad B breaks out everything. First of all, it has inset around the stroke. And here there's no inset, so you see the text overlap with the strokes, and it didn't break up into lines, and it didn't highlight the times. So overall, this one is much more readable. Look at the second one, second row. Add A or add B, which one do you prefer? Again, most of you will say add B. Because even though both of them has inset, this time both of them have inset, both of them break out into lines, but the tab family choice for add B is smarter than add A. Add A use this tab of font for the headlines. This is not a appropriate headline for a meatball supper. It may be appropriate for thriller horror movie. It doesn't looks good for a meatball supper. And this one, we would say that the tab family choice is quite smarter. And here same thing. If you look at this, it's blending and clear. It may be good for a horror movie again, but it's not really for a a supper that you want to invite people to have some food here. So add B may be better. When you look at this two ads, do you prefer add A or add B? In previous classes, we have someone who say they like add A, someone say they like add B. That's understandable because add A, the choice of typeface is like the style of the New York Times. So if you like to read New York Times, you probably prefer add A. Add A would be a better choice if you want to put an ad into New York Times. But add B is more like the style of the USA Today. So if you want to create an ad for USA Today, add B may be a better choice. So here you can see that the typefaces really is important. It's not something that you have to do it and it doesn't have characteristics. No, it actually has special meanings. What type of typefaces you choose says a lot about your project, about your product, about your idea. This is another example to show that type choice is very important. Again, this is the example from the textbook. Let's say you got a fortune from somewhere and then you want to do a cosmetic surgery and you go to Houston and see a son of a doctor. Let's say we have 10 type of sons here. Which son is more inviting? Which means when you see which son, you are more likely to go to see Dr. John Davis. We did a test before in the class. Most of the students say they may want to go to Dr. John Davis if they see a son in this format or in this format or in this format. They provide different reasons. They want to go to see Dr. John Davis in this format because that shows Dr. John Davis is neat, clean, professional. They want to see Dr. John Davis in this format because the son is beautiful, is elegant. And when you do cosmetic surgery, you want yourself to be beautiful. Or they want to see Dr. John Davis in this way because those letters, those typography, is similar to those in a degree, certificate, or diplomat. So that shows Dr. John Davis is really recognized, certified, is credible. So they may want to see Dr. John Davis if the son looks like this. Nobody want to go to see Dr. John Davis if the son looks like this. Because you may be afraid that, are you going to make my face looks like that? Has lots of dots on my face? Or nobody want to see Dr. John Davis if the son looks like this. That may be very good typography for pediatrics, but not really good for a cosmetic surgery doctor. So you can see, even though it's the same words on the signs, if you choose different typography, it has a huge impact on your customers. So when you design some project, make sure that you choose the typefaces wisely so that your customers will feel what you want them to feel. Basically, we will see that the typography has two typefaces. One category is called serifs. That's the type of typefaces that has small strokes at the end of the big stroke. You can see this small stroke here, small stroke here, small stroke here. At both end of I, there are small strokes, and then the serifs may have different tab families. Like this is Roman, and this is Minion, this is Bernhard Modern. So they have different tab families, but all of them have small strokes at the end of the letter strokes or the letter legs. The other tab is called sans serif. Sans serif may also have different tab families. Helvetica, Fugero, Marriott, Tecton. So they have different tab families, but all of them, they do not have any stroke at the end of the letter stroke. So overall, when you look at the serif typefaces, you will feel official, serious, formal, something big. And when you look at the serif typefaces, you will feel small, friendly, close, informal, something like that. So you can see that different typefaces does bring different feelings to the customers. The same tab family may have different tab styles. Like here you can see it may be light italic, light narrow. It may be book italic. It may be bold, bold condensed, ultra italic. Not every tab family has those styles, but some of them has some styles. When you launch your InDesign, you can check it and find out that some of the tab families, they have lots of styles. Some of the tab families, they only have one style. Finally, we're going to see the last example to show you that tab family, the tab face choice has a significant impact on the idea of the design of the project. Now, look at those two. Those two are actually the same sentences. Chevy and American Revolution. Chevy, particularly the Chevy truck and American Revolution. Let's say if you are the designer, which typeface are you going to choose? This one or this one? I would say when you think about a Chevy truck, you know Chevy has good trucks, right? When you think about Chevy trucks, few of you probably will choose this one because this style, this typeface does not really go well with trucks. Trucks should look like this. And that's what Chevy truck is using in their slogan. And which type are you going to choose for the diamond? You may have 4 choices. And which one are you going to choose? They are choosing this one. Looks like a modern, but it's a sans serif, so it's friendly, it's close to the customers, it's clear, and also it looks professional. So that's what they choose. Okay, we have lots of these examples to tell you that when you design a project, it is very important for you to think closely, thoroughly, what typeface and what type size that you're going to choose to make the project great to the customers. Now, we are going to launch InDesign again to see how we can choose the typefaces and the type fonts. So launch your InDesign. Again, we're going to create a document. You already know those choices, so we're not going to spend time here. We just click OK to create a document. And you know that when you cannot tap into InDesign directly, you have to click the tab tone first, and then create a text frame, and then tap something here. So let's say John Davis, PMD. That's the sound we saw just now. And you select the text. You can increase the tab size by change it here. So now it's 12 point. You can change it into 14 point. If that's not large enough, click here, it will increasing. And if you are not in, this is now you are in the paragraph formatting panel. If you are not here, if you are in the character formatting control panel, and the tab size will be here, so you can continue to click it. And or if you know what you want it to be, the font size you want it to be, you can simply put it here. Let's say 40 point. Or if that's not enough, you can plus 20. 40 plus 20, that will be 60 point. Press Int. Now it's 60 point. If it's not still not large enough, you can times 2. So InDesign can do math very well. Okay, now nothing is there. That's because we probably set a too large a font size that our text frame cannot contain it. So if you select it, oh, we deleted it. So we actually accidentally deleted it. So we want to get it back. And you can edit, undo, or you can simply press Command Z. Oh, it's here. Okay, so now it's 112 point. You can continue to times 2. Let's say times 2. 240. Oh, okay. You need to select it. Now you see there's a red square here that's telling you that your text frame is too small and the font size is too large, that the text frame cannot contain the text. So you need to make it smaller. We use 240 divided by 2. That will be 120 points. But we want to make it one line. So let's minus 20 points. Not enough. You can. That's one way to change, increase or decrease the font size. You can also select the text and press Command Option greater than or smaller than to adjust, make it into one line. That's the way to adjust the font size. You can also choose the type family. Right now it's Medium Pro. If you click here, you can see that you have a lot of choices. InDesign really give you a lot of choices. Let's say we're going to choose this format, and then it will look like this. Or you can choose, if you go down, you have hundreds of choices. This is a Chinese type of tab family, so it looks like that. It's called Adobe Haiti standard. If you go down, you also have this might be I don't know what kind of word is that, but this may be Korean, so let's use this Korean type families. So you can use different type families, but notice that if you use this type family, then it will be too long again, so you can make it smaller. This is not a very good typeface choice for a cosmetic doctor, so let's select another one. As we said, we may want to use Helvetica. Let's see how. This is a veneer, and you can see that it has a lot of styles already, so you can choose any of those styles. And if you don't like it, you can change the style from here, heavy, and make it one line. Okay, so that's the way that you can choose tab family and tab styles. Again, like we said, those tab face choices are very important for the project. So you want to make sure that you choose the right tab. You choose the right tab faces, which means the tab family and the tab styles. Now let's talk about two more concepts about tab choices. One is let's use a sentence as an example. We are going to use this sentence as a example. Okay. Now look at it here. We have this sentence is put into 1, 2, 3, 4 lines. There's if you look at it here, this is the font size, the value for font size. So right now the font size has 70 point. Now here, this is called lighting. Now it's 84 point. There's a bracket around it, which means by default, automatically, if you use 70 point as the font size, then the lighting value will be 84 points. Automatically the lighting value is the font size times 120. So if you use 70 point times 1.2, that will be 84 points. You can change the lighting value. Now it's 84. You can change it into let's say 72. So it's still larger than 70, but not as large as the automatic value. And you can change it into 70. It will look like this. So when the lighting value is larger than the font size, that's called positive lighting. And you can change it as smaller. Let's say 60. You need to select it, 60. And this is negative lighting. In the titles or subtitles, sometimes you need to set the negative lighting. But make sure those letters do not overlap with each other. So probably we're going to, instead of put 60, we're going to put 65. And that will be a little bit better. You can put it this, use the negative lighting in the title and the subtitles. When the lighting value is larger than the font size, that's called positive lighting. When the lighting value is smaller than the font size, like in this case, it's called negative lighting. When it's equal to the font size, that's called we need to select it again. That's called solid. So that's something we need to know about the lightings. You have a positive lighting, negative lighting, and solid. Another thing is that when you read chapter 2, or sometimes when you have a client, the client will give you a formula, and the formula will look like this. So let's create another text frame, and the formula may look like make it larger. This type of formula normally goes with a bunch of text. So what does this formula mean? This formula is called markup. When you see this formula, you will know that this value is the font size value. So that means, for example, if someone give you this sentence and then they give this formula to you, you know that you need to set it as 12 point, and the leading value should be 14. So here it should be 14. And then what's that's 14 against point. And then the 25, what's the 25? 25 is the length of this sentence, which means this length, the sentence shouldn't be no longer than 25, not points, but pcos. And now here, how do you know from where to where is 25 pcos? You know, this is the 5 and goes to here. So this sentence is pretty much like just 21 pcos. I guess it's pcos. How do you check it? You put your cursor on this ruler. This is the horizontal ruler. This is the vertical ruler. Put your cursor on the ruler, press Control, call out the context menu. You see pcos is checked. That means right now the unit for this ruler is pcos. So this sentence right now is only 5 pcos to 20, not really 25 pcos. So it's less than 20 pcos. But this markup tell you that the paragraph should be no longer than 25 pcos. We are fine right now. And that's what the markup is telling us. Now if you turn to page 48, you will see there's a project of a bookmark, and there's lots of markups. I tell you that you're going to use 30 for font size, 30 for leading value, 25 for font size, and 30 for leading value. A lot of things over there. So when you read that, you should know what the values means. Okay, we've pretty much covered all the content of chapter 2, and now let's see if we can create a bookmark together, just to show you guys how to create a fundamental project. You already created one. You probably already created one before, but this is a process of helping you to be familiar with using InDesign. So we are going to delete those two here. The project that we're going to create is actually on page 48 in the textbook. So we're going to create a new document. It's a letter size document which we already have here, and then we're going to create a frame. So let's create a frame and make it the width as 2 inch and the head as 7 inch. So the select it. Here's the width would be 2 inch and the head would be 7 inch. We need to break this link, otherwise it will change proportionately. So this is 7 inch again, and this is only 2 inch. Okay, this is how it looks like. And then we're going to type some text here. So choose Type tool, click it, and choose a type here. Again, like we said, before we enter a text in a document like this, we always need to create a inset. How do you create a inset? You can press Control, click here, and find out the text frame option. Or you can simply click Command B, and then the text frame option will come out. Here right now the inside spacing is 0. Let's say we're going to have a 0.125 inch inside. The link is linked, so the value will be the same all around. And then that's the and now when you have some text, it will not that close to the stroke. And then we can put the text here, wisdom out with any wealth. And like I said, this semester when you create a project, we want you always to change the text into the words that you want to say. Use the photos that you collected rather than use the stuff materials provided by the textbook authors. That way, I know that you can have some creativity, and later on you can tell people this is pretty much a project created by myself. So here it says wisdom outweighs any wealth. I want to use my own quote. Practice makes perfect. You probably already see this from the syllabus. And then put a Z here, that's a place for the glyph. And then this is a bookmark for me, so I will just put my name here. Okay, and then we can find the glyph. For the glyph, if you read the textbook, you will not. It will tell you to go to tab, glyphs, and then will ask you the glyph is actually in the tab family of let's see. It should be Adobe Carson Pro. So we change Minion Pro into Adobe. I just tap it here. Carson Pro. Yeah, I already changed it into Adobe Carson Pro. And then rather than entire font, we go to choose ornaments. And you will see all types of glyph here. Again, we encourage you to choose something that's different from the textbook. So the textbook used this glyph. Here, I did rather use other glyph. I think this one is pretty. So I'm going to use this one. And the font size, it says it should be the font size should be 100 point, and the lighting is 125. So I just change it into 125 points. That's it. I didn't see the color. I would rather to change it into blue or green. So let's see, green. That's beautiful. You can change it into red or some other colors if you want. And then select everything, make it centralized. How do you make it centralized? You click here, or simply press Command Shift Command C. That's a shortcut key. And this one, it asks us to use Adobe Garimont Pro. I would like to use another typeface that I want, but whatever color typeface you use, please remember that all the Pro typefaces, Adobe Carson Pro, Adobe Garimont Pro, Minion Pro, all of those. Here there's a Chaparral Pro. All of those Pro type families that are very beautiful. Decorative. So if you can, you may want to use those Pro typefaces. So let's use this Chaparral Pro here, bold, and make it larger. And they want the first word to be 30 you can choose whether or not you want it. I can use it as 30. Letting value is 30. That's fine. And then the others, they wanted it to be 25 font size. Okay. And letting value to be 30. That's the automatic. That's okay. And the last one is 20. So 20 font size. Letting value would be 30. Okay, 30. We can do that. And change. If you want, I can also make it. Do we have bold? Make it bold. If you can also change the color. This color into red, and then we have a very beautiful bookmark. So this is a very easy project, but it shows you how to create those projects. It does not really involve any photographs or something like that. But anyway, hope you enjoy doing this little project. And later on from this project, we're going to get into doing some more complicated and interesting project. Okay, that's chapter 2. Thank you very much again.